There's a group of stocks out there, you can Google them, that are called the dividend aristocrats. The dividend aristocrats, okay? To be an aristocrat, you have to have not only paid a dividend for at least 25 years in a row, you have to have increased your dividend every year for at least 25 years in a row. I use one company as an example only because it's such a great example and only because it's a Warren Buffett story. Okay? Buffett, obviously a great investor. And he is the largest shareholder in Coca Cola stock through his company, Berkshire Hathaway. And if you haven't been to his website to read his annual letter to shareholders, you should definitely do that. They go all the way back. The company's celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. You can go to the website, berkshirehathaway.com, and you can read all of his letters. And they're just like a letter to home from an uncle or from somebody that you admire and trust. They're phenomenal. They've got a lot of technical stuff in them, but when you just get to the dialogue of the letters, it's just really, really fantastic. So he owns about 10% of Coca Cola, about 10% of Coca Cola. And he's been buying it for years and years and years, 20, 30 years at least, maybe even more than that. In his letter to shareholders, 2010, I believe it was, he said by the year 2000, and I believe over that time, he's invested around $700 million into Coca Cola stock. I don't think he's buying it anymore, but he got it to the point that he wanted to get. And I think he had invested about $700 million, which today is worth billions and billions of dollars. But that's coincidental to him. Wouldn't that be nice? In his letter 2010, 2011, he said, by the year 2015, I anticipate that we will get paid a dividend that year equal to the amount of money we've invested in the company. So in other words, he now is receiving a 100% return on his money every year simply in the form of dividend payments. And it will go up every year after that and every year after that. Coca-Cola has raised their dividend 51 years in a row now. They are one of the top dividend aristocrats. Did Buffett do anything that only he could do because of his infinite wisdom or his amazing wealth? No. He found a great American company that he liked. He started investing in it, and he kept investing in it, and he kept taking advantage of the dividends that were paid every year. It's powerful stuff, powerful stuff. But every one of us can do exactly the same thing. There's a company out there, a publicly traded company that you can invest in, that you would have the same faith as Buffett did in his decision to start buying Coca-Cola. I give about 100 speeches a year, and I speak to large groups, small groups. You know, it's really comforting for me to do. I don't get nervous. It makes no difference at all. But I did have to give a speech earlier this year when my granddaughter's 5th grade teacher said, "George, could you come and talk to the kids about investing?" Wow. I long ago swore off ever going and talking to a high school class, because all the kids in high school know more than everybody in the world, okay? There's nothing you can tell them, okay? But here are these 5th graders, these trusting young people, and I'm going, how am I possibly going to talk to these kids about investing? And I was walking in the door, and I had it just came to mind right away. So I got up there, and I started my speech, and I said, how many of you guys have been to Disneyland? Boom, every room in the hand went up. How many of you saw the movie Frozen? Boom, every hand in the room goes up, okay? I said, kids, you just learned the first lesson of investing, okay? Wouldn't you like to own the company that runs Disneyland and makes movies like Frozen? And their eyes just lit up. They couldn't believe that they could do that. And so that was great. And so the rest of the half hour that I had with these kids, I didn't have to do a darn thing. You know, I would talk a little bit more about Disney, then all of a sudden a hand would go, Mr. Chamberlin, can you do the same thing with Apple? And I go, yeah, you really can. They're a public company. You can be an owner of Apple, yeah, and all that stuff like that. And so we just kind of got going, and we just kept going from one company to another. It was one of the funnest times I've ever had doing a group like that, and it was a real hoot. Now, how do you do that? How do you get a kid to invest in something like that? Well, first of all, kids can't own assets. You have to be 18 to do that. But there are ways to buy stocks directly and invest small amounts of money. Okay? They're called direct purchase programs, and there's a lot of them out there. I'll tell you how you can get a list of them in just a second. But a direct purchase program lets you buy a stock directly through the company, not from the company, but through the company, most of the time with a small amount of money, $50, $100 to get started or something like that. Okay? And then you set up the account where you can have additional money withdrawn from your account at the credit union or at the bank, and then you can have the ability to reinvest all the dividends on that. You know? And go to a website called DRIP, D-R-I-P, investor.com, dripinvestor.com. It's a newsletter. DRIP stands for Dividend Reinvestment Program. And it's a nice newsletter. I don't subscribe to it, but take them up in the top corner. You'll see a spot where you can click and ask for a free copy of the newsletter. Okay? They will send you a free copy of the newsletter, but they'll also send you a list of all these companies that have direct purchase programs. And it is truly a great way to invest. Every stock I own in the portfolio has been bought through a direct purchase program. Every month we have authorized them to debit our account X number of dollars to buy more shares, and we tell them to take it to reinvest the dividends every quarter as well. Compounding is a great thing. Albert Einstein called compounding the eighth wonder of the world, and it truly is. It truly is. So that's a good way to get started. You can do that for the kid, and there's kids and grandkids, and it's a great way to go. I'm just a big fan of that. It allows you to get started with small amounts of money, to contribute whenever you want to, stuff like that. Get other people to contribute for them as well.